Hey everybody, it's the Longhorn Confidential for Tuesday, October 29th. I'm Danny Davis, the American-Statesman. Thomas Jones is here. David Eckert's here. Seth Golden's not here. He's relaxing a little bit because it's a bye week, and as are the Texas Longhorns this week. Ranked number sixth in all polls, 7-1 on the season, 3-1 in conference play after a 27-24 win over Vanderbilt up in Nashville this past weekend. Thomas, we'll start with you as we get underway. With four conference games left in this season, who is one player on this Texas team who you think this is a shoo-in for that all SEC team? This person's pretty much already booked their spot. If I had a ballot, I would vote for him right now.
I see two All-Americans on this Texas team. They're both on defense. So I'm gonna pick one, and it's linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. He transitioned to middle linebacker spot this year. It's been such a smooth transition to his credit, to the staff's credit, coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski, and those guys have done a good job. Anthony Hill has been fantastic in the middle of that Texas defense. 10 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. He's among the SEC leaders. I think he's a shoe-in lock for the all SEC team. I think he's a strong candidate for Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC.
David, who has impressed you in the conference games from this Texas roster?
Yeah, I suspect this is the other one that TJ was thinking of, and Jade Barron.
That's it.
Yeah,
Bingo.
yeah, is my pick. Sometimes corners kind of walk the line of, all right, this guy is excellent, but because he's so excellent, nobody targets him, and he doesn't kind of get the counting stats that jump out at the voters for this type of thing. That's not the case with him. He's already got 3 picks. I think he's got 6 pass breakups. So he's, an outstanding cover corner, kind of getting to play that pure position now. And he's making the explosive plays to come with it. Sometimes with the aid of some water bottles from the stands. But he's been really good, and I think he'll get that recognition.
Yeah, I was going to go with Johnny too. I also like the way Michael Taft has been playing at safety, especially with as banged up as that position has been. And he's the reigning SEC co-defensive player of the week for how he played at Vanderbilt this past weekend. You'll notice none of us picked any offensive players, which is not something we would have said a couple of weeks ago, and kind of funny. I think Texas has won 4 offensive linemen of the week awards at this point of the season, but that line has kind of been in disarray the last couple of weeks. I imagine Kelvin Banks is going to be on that team regardless, but they definitely have to figure out some stuff on that offensive line, and I don't think Quinn's going to have the numbers or the games played to be in that conversation. And that wide receiver crew, although talented, because they're so deep, because Isaiah Bond has missed some times, I just don't think like a DeAndre Moore is going to get the numbers, or Isaiah Bond's going to have enough numbers to get that all conference recognition. But that doesn't mean that there's some talented guys out
I,
there.
I think the best offensive player who has the best chance might be the
Gunnar
tight
Helm,
end, Gunnar Helm.
Gunnar Helm,
And
yeah,
which who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Gunnar Helm
Yeah,
actually maybe the best answer of all, because he's going to have really good numbers for a tight end, and he's obviously been very pivotal to what this Texas team has done. But being since he's a tight end and we just overlooked him, I guess that's if we'd done this a couple days ago on National Tight End Day, I guess we would have got it right. But being since this is a bye week, what is one thing that Texas really needs to work on? I mean, there's some glaring issues that have arose, which is funny to say for a 7-1 team. But David, what is one thing that this Texas team needs to work on this week?
yeah. I think I'll take the low hanging fruit. They have to figure out how to protect Quinn Ewers better. And I don't think I believe Steve Sarkisian when he says, "Hey, this is not an offensive line specific problem." If you go back and kind of look at what's happening, it's okay. The running back didn't make the correct chip block against Vanderbilt. Jade Bear, or sorry, not Jade, Jaden Blue kind of went to go block a guy who was already accounted for, and Quinn Ewers got absolutely mauled by a guy coming straight up the middle. So there's just been like little communication issues, more so than guys just getting outright beat on that offensive line. So whatever's going on there, that to me is priority number one. They've been sacked 11 times in their last two games, which is not good. And you look at the athletic profile of a team like Vanderbilt compared to what Texas has in the trenches. Like, there's no reason Vanderbilt should be sacking Quinn Ewers four times in a game. It just should not be happening. So they got to get that figured out for sure.
I guess my thing would kind of be offensive line adjacent, but it encompasses the whole team. The penalties were such a glaring issue in the Vanderbilt game, and I don't know how you necessarily address that in a week of practice. I don't know how you address discipline. I don't know how you address some of that stuff. And there are different kind of penalties. I mean, you can, some of that's subjective, some of that's just effort, but some of them are just bad stuff that, took points off the board. We also heard in Broughton, that was not a
Yep.
great attempt that ended up taking a pick six off the board and making that game a lot closer. Malik Muhammad, his fundamentals weren't great on that PI that gave him a first down instead of a turnover on downs. And Cam Williams has struggled throughout the year with untimely penalties. So this team needs to figure out how to be more disciplined, because if it's gonna hurt you on the road at Vanderbilt, where that is pretty much a home game with how that the crowd was. You know, Lord help when you go to Arkansas in 2 weeks, or a College Station at the end of November, when you were really in a hostile environment. So they've got to figure out how to be more disciplined and get that penalty problem addressed. I don't know how you do it, but that's also why Steve and his assistants get paid a lot more than I do. TJ, what is your glaring issue?
I mean, you guys are both right. I think the offensive line and penalties are the two glaring ones. For me, I think a lot of people, myself included, overlook the lack of a go-to player at the skill positions. Last year, the top two receivers are all playing in the NFL. Last year's tight end, Ja'Tavion Sanders, playing in the NFL. Running back Jonathan Brooks is in the NFL. They lost five guys at the skill spots to the NFL. And really, they haven't had any of those skill positions really step up as a go-to guy. There's a reason none of those guys got mentioned by us as an all SEC, candidate. They just need someone, whether it's with Trey Wiser's playing well, but he's not a star. Isaiah Bond's kind of been banged up. They need someone to kind of grab a hold of that position, bail out Quinn Ewers sometimes, make a play out of nothing. I'd like to see one of those guys really take that next step up.
We'll get to see exactly what Texas worked on over the bye on November 9th when they return to the field against Florida at DKR. After that, it's Arkansas, then home for Kentucky, and then closing out the regular season at A&M and College Station on the 30th. But of those four games, what's the toughest game left on UT's schedule? Thomas, we'll let you go first.
I mean, the answer is A&M. And in College Station, those people are going to be rabid. Look, I'll let y'all talk about that. I do think Arkansas and Fayetteville, it's a bit of a trap up in the hills. Arkansas is playing some pretty decent football. They beat Tennessee. They should have beat A&M. Texas got to be careful in a few weeks when they go up to the Ozarks.
David?
Yeah, I mean, the objectively the correct answer is Texas A&M, right? You're going on the road and playing a top 10 or whatever. I don't know exactly where they are, but and a team that hasn't lost yet in the SEC. So they've got like the weird quarterback situation going on too. Like, and obviously that's going to be a stadium that is just like full of vitriol as well. So yeah, look, I think all of these games have the potential to be tricky. I think Florida's figuring some stuff out. They played Tennessee really tough on the road. Kentucky played Georgia really tough. They kind of do the Vanderbilt thing where they just slow the game down and limit possessions. And, you're probably not going to blow them out just because you might not get enough possessions to do that. So, and then, Arkansas, like TJ talked about, is going to have, some of the same vitriol in that stadium that Texas A&M is going to have. So I just think you've got two really tough road games, and it's important that they don't overlook the home games either, because if you do that, this is the SEC. These are all talented rosters. You could trip up. So
I would argue there may actually be more vitriol in Fayetteville than there will be in College Station, just about how, for all the old timers over there that hate Texas as much as they do. I'm actually picking Arkansas. I don't think The Arkansas game has the perfect making of a trap game against a team that is playing well. It's going to
Mhm.
be really easy to overlook. Arkansas, I don't have any question that Texas is going to be up for that A&M game. It's the return of that rivalry. They are going to be hearing about that the entire week when they go home for Thanksgiving. You know, Texas, with as much pomp and circumstances, already got into it with the rebranding of the whatever they're calling it, the Lone Star Classic Showdown, whatever they're calling it now. Um, since it's a regular season finale, they'll know exactly what's on the line as far as SEC seeding and college football playoff seeding. Like, I don't think they're going to get caught napping, but that could happen at Arkansas. And this is going to be Arkansas Super Bowl. It was 3 years ago when they just, beat the crap out of this Texas team. And I would just be a little bit more concerned about that one, just because I'm not worried about Texas being not being up for that A&M game. And I think Texas is more talented than A&M, anyways. But I think the Arkansas game, just because that is the definition of a trap game. And obviously, they're going to feel the guys that were still on that team from 3 years ago are going to feel a little confident, and their fans are going to feel a little liberated, or whatever you want to call what they're doing at 11 o'clock in the morning. But I think the Arkansas game is something to worry about.
They're embracing the hog, as Sam Pittman says.
Something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to embrace some time off, and I'm not working this weekend since it's a bye week. But be sure to check on statesman.com. We'll still have content. Basketball seasons are about to get started, both men's and women's. And obviously, next week when Texas returns to practice in the field, we'll have plenty of stuff to get everyone ready for that Florida game. But yeah, statesman.com for all your stuff. We appreciate you watching us on the website or on YouTube, or listening to us wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next week. Deuces. Oh, enjoy your. Oh, wait. I forgot this. I put it on my rundown. Can't believe this. Favorite Halloween candy, David, go.
Um, Reese's cups, ideally stored in the freezer for like 4 hours first.
TJ.
Best holiday of the year, especially in Austin, Texas. Look, I don't want anything sour. I don't want sour worms. I don't want sour gummies, Sour Patch Kids. I don't sour beer, and I like Belgians. I don't want anything sour. Give me good old fashioned fun size Snickers with a little peanut butter in there, and maybe a little fun size Twix and Reese's Pieces.
Kind of on a Twix bender right now. I've been eating a lot of those fun size Twix right now, a lot more than I would normally eat. But my answer is candy corn. Don't care what all you haters.
Oh no.
Give me
Oh,
give me
Danny.
that candy corn. I'm good. I'm good to go.
You're better than that. You're
I
better
I am not. Trust me.
than
I am
that.
not. I will eat candy corn all day. I had a bag right by my desk, but apparently I ate all of it. So
I
um,
thought the government had banned that stuff. That's
if
still allowed.
they ban it, just put it all in my backyard. I'll take some contraband candy corn. That's good for me. But that's gonna do it for us. Hope everyone has a great Halloween. We'll see y'all next week. Deuces.